right, part 2 of our VROD project, working on our 2003 Anniversary VROD. We are going to be rebuilding these Hayes calipers. Hayes made a lot of the calipers back in the day for Harley-Davidson. Today, it's kind of a combination of Hayes, Nissan, Brembo. Actually, when I moved to Scottsdale in 2007, I was out with some friends who were at a teppanyaki place. There with, eight people. And this guy next to me, we started talking about bikes, and sure enough, it was Mr. Hayes. So we had a long discussion because I told him about how I was a former Harley dealer, and he was telling me that they were getting into bicycles, and that was really a big part of their business because they were getting away from Harley, not doing as much with them. He could see the handwriting on the walls where they were going to start doing more with Nissan and Brembo, and instead of just kind of being the supplier to Harley-Davidson. So it was a neat conversation, cool guy to meet. These are great calipers. They do have some issues though. The O-rings inside, they kind of lose their elasticity, or the pistons. Sometimes they'll leak a little bit. What we do is go in and completely rebuild them. I'm going to show you that process. This caliper is pretty dirty because the fork seals were leaking, which we already fixed back again in the first video. So we're going to clean this up first, and then I'll come back and show you how to disassemble this caliper. All right, we're back. Have the right side Hayes caliper all cleaned up here. We're going to remove the 2 pad pins, and then we'll remove these 2 retaining bolts. Take a look at these pads and decide if we're going to reuse them or not. Try to be as clean as possible. You don't want to get any of this debris in anything where it shouldn't be. All right, now we have our handy dandy tool here. This is going to help us remove the pistons. The problem with this is we're going to, you'll probably see, is we're putting the air to this to get the pistons to move. A lot of times they don't move in unison, and you'll get 2 to pop out and 2 won't pop. It ends up being kind of it'd be a pain sometimes to get this to work correctly. I'm going to hit this with some air. Try to get these pistons to pop out. They don't even want to move. So this happens. What we're going to try to do is free these up a little bit by pushing them in. These are just really frozen. Looks like a couple of them are starting to move. There's one. There we go. Now, you hear that hiss noise. That shows me 2 of them have popped out and 1 hasn't. So those 2 pistons that have come out need to go in a little bit. So I have a little trick for that. Let's see here. So this one's out. I'm going to have to push it in a little bit. And then what we're going to do is I have these little pieces of plastic that I've cut, and they're going to sit right here, and they're not going to allow this to come out any further. So it'll still be sealing, allow pressure to go into this piston and help pop it out. And we're going to have to do that on this one also. So we'll push it in just a little bit. And a couple of more pieces of plastic. We'll just set them on here. If it was easy, everybody would do it. That's what I always say. All right, get everything in here. Let's do. All right, they are all out. That's good. And you can see all the pistons are now far enough out of the caliper that we can remove them the rest of the way. And you do not want to mix these up if you're going to reuse them. So we're going to take a good look at them first, check them for wear. We have both kits here. We have obviously the piston and seal kit, and then we have Harley's Just Seal kit. I am going to put new brake pads in, the EBCs. The pistons don't look too bad. I think, I'll see this one before I say anything because, yeah, they don't look too bad. So obviously what happened with these brakes is the pistons were basically not moving well, and they don't go to what's called the parked position. So if they were in the right position, the piston would be out enough, close enough to the pad, so when you pull the handle, you get a pretty good feel of the handle right from the beginning. It'll start to get hard. What'll happen is these end up staying in too far, and that's why you have to pump the handle multiple times to get the piston to come out, to contact the pad, to get a nice hard brake. So that's why you need to rebuild these. Again, the rubbers just kind of, with age, they lose their elasticity, I guess we'd say, and that's it. I think we're going to be good with these pistons. They look good. I'm going to try to clean them up a little more. Again, if we do need them, I do have piston kits. So let's go. I'm going to get all this cleaned up, and then I'll show you the assembly. All right, the pistons look good. I've already assembled the outer side of the caliper. We're going to do this for time's sake to help us out here. We're going to do this one together. So we have our Harley seal kit. We're going to put our seals in. And when you are looking at the pistons, you're looking for any corrosion, which is the most common issue. You really shouldn't see any nicks unless it was nicked when it was put in. In that case, you might have a leak. And when I mentioned earlier these calipers occasionally will leak, it's not usually the pistons. I mean, once in a great while, but there's two O-rings that go in between the caliper halves. As the O-rings wear, they get some age, they can tend to leak, and you'll see brake fluid push out of the seam. If you look at the pad here, you'll notice more material towards the edge of the pad retainer. Be less material, it's further away. You always want the rotation of the disc. It's going to sit on the vehicle like this. We're going to make sure we want the inner pad here. More material to the edge. That's going to go to the back side. As the rotation of the disc moves forward, it's going to go towards where you have less backing plate showing. You could flip these around, but that's dangerous because these only go a certain way, and this is how they're supposed to go. We're going to put our pad pins in place, and these do go in. You look for wear also. These don't look too bad. And what you'll do is these are tapered on the end, and you'll hear a mechanical click when you know they're installed correctly. And these will get torqued to 180 inch-pounds. See if you can hear the click. Hear that click? Now I know it's installed correctly. Should be getting pretty close to the click. There you go. Before I do that, I want to make sure I torque the main bolts to 30 to 35 foot-pounds. So we're going to set this at 180 inch-pounds. And we will now set this at 35. There we go. We're going to want to torque the main bolts first. Torque up the main brake bolts. There you have it. Now I will install the brake with the spreader in here. We'll mount the brake. Remember, the least amount of backing plate towards the rotation of the disc. So right side brake, disc is going to rotate like this. So you're going to show more pad here and less backing plate compared to this side. As you can see in here, there's more backing plates showing and less brake pad. That way you have the orientation correctly. So we're going to pop this caliper on. I'm going to get the other one rebuilt, and then we'll have the front end done on the V-Rod. Next we're going to go to the rear. We're going to get the tire off. I am going to pull the exhaust on this, change the rear tire, leave the belt loose, and then we're going to go on to the valve adjustment. We're going to show you that. But we're going to get this other caliper on, get the front end done today. Again, these projects take time. A 30,000 or a 20,000 mile service on a bike that's been sitting for a long time. You're looking at a few days labor by the time you're done, maybe even 4. It's a lot of work. It's very time consuming, especially when you have to do stuff like this. We're going to flush the radiator. We still have to do the rest of the service. We're getting there. Should be done pretty soon, and we're going to take you along for the ride. Make sure you like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, send any comments out you want. I've heard the audio's not been great on some of the video. I'm finding out that it's the camera, so it looks like I'm going to have to buy a new camera, and this one is brand new, but there's something glitchy with it. I'll send it out, get fixed while I buy a new camera, and we'll start shooting with that. And we're also working on some pretty other neat stuff. I can't really talk about it right now, but we'll keep you in the loop.